Call this meeting to order. Tonight we're going to be leading the pledge. We've got several of our art students up here, so they're going to lead us in the pledge to allegiance. Everybody stand. Thank you. If we could for just a moment, have a moment of silence, and before we do that, I would like to ask everyone to please continue to remember the Blankenship family, our board member that passed away a little 2 weeks ago. I'd like to call, basically make a, I want to say announcement, or this week, the Alan Lovelace, the photographer that took the board's picture and everything, donated Miss Blankenship's picture to the board, and the board is going to forward that on to the Miss Blankenship's family. So if we could just remember them in this moment of silence. Thank you. I'd like to take this time to welcome everyone tonight. We've got probably a full house on under good terms, I believe. So, which is some of you have been here before when we've had a full house under unusual terms, I guess you could say. So, it's good to have everybody here tonight, and we're going to do some celebrating. Several celebrations, I guess, here in just a little bit. So, once again, I'd like to say welcome. Approval agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Blair and a second by Mr. Holliday. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Approval of consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Eakes, second by Mr. Holliday. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Visitors, we don't have any signed up visitors, so we're going to go into our recognition, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Odom.
We do have some great recognitions tonight. I'm going to ask Principal Gail Vick if you'll come up to the podium. This is quite an honor for Blackman High School in Rutherford County, and I'm going to give you the opportunity, the honor to do this for us.
Thank you. Yeah, it has been a year of first at Blackman High School with 2 state championships, and so I haven't come down, my feet haven't hit the floor yet, but and our student body has, we've missed a little bit of class, but we've had a great opportunity, and these kids have had an opportunity to experience things that lots of kids don't get that opportunity. So, and it's thanks to 2 great teams and a bunch of great coaches. Tonight, we have with us the girls' state championship team. These young ladies are leaders in our school. They do a lot of things besides basketball, and I'm sure that Coach Hibden will share some of that with you in a moment. But, you know, they do everything from book studies to community service projects. And he teaches them how to treat people and how to treat each other, and I think that's what makes them so successful and so special. So what I'd like to do is to share a little bit about their accomplishments this year and Coach Hibden, and then I'll let him talk about the ladies. But Coach Hibden has been at Blackman for 9 years, and I was lucky enough to hire him. The year before he came to Blackman, the team won 4 games. So you can see that he has built a program from the ground up, and I'm so proud of him for that. Since his arrival, we've had 3 state tournament appearances. The past 5 years, we've had over 20 wins each year. And of course, this year, they finished 34-1. They're state champions. They have been recognized as national champions with Max Preps, USA Today, and ESPN. So we're expecting that to be announced formally very soon. And we also have a Miss Basketball finalist in Crystal Dangerfield on our team this year, and she was also named the most valuable player in the tournament. So they have lots and lots of accomplishments. I'm so proud of them, and it's my pleasure to introduce Coach Hibden to talk about this team.
I'm going to invite the girls to come on up, and if you guys will stand here and kind of face the audience. We have had a tremendous year, but the thing about this team, and if you've come and seen us play, you know that we're very, very talented. What you don't see is the character and integrity behind these young women. Our program is built on 4 pillars: give, grow, love, and win. And for these young ladies, we talk about success, defining success, because only one team in our division gets to hold that gold ball. That doesn't mean you're not successful. We define success as adding value to others. That's them adding value to their teammates, their classmates, doing our community service projects, doing our kids camp, those kind of things, and reaching out. And that's what makes this group a special group. And to celebrate this with them as a coach and our staff is special, because they embrace all of those things. They embrace being humble servants, understanding that they have room to grow. They play with passion. They do things with passion. And then winning. They understand that it takes a great amount of work, a high level of integrity, and just a skill set that they continue to want to get better. And that's what was special about this group. We had some success early, but every day they wanted to continue to get better. They knew that there were areas of their game in our team that could continue to get better. And as we focused on those things, it helped us establish a mindset of, you know, where can we get better? What's our next challenge? And every day they really strive to do that. And we strive for excellence and understand that perfection is okay. 34-1 was our perfection, and state champs was our perfection, and we're so blessed for them and happy for them. We'll start with our senior, and you just kind of wave. It's Micah Norris. Okay. And our juniors, Mimi Jackson, Angel Allen, KK Williams, Alex Johnson. Did I miss anybody? No. Juniors. Sophomores, Crystal Dangerfield, Maya Van Zant, Mia Graytrex, Jazz Bond, and our 2 freshmen, Jasmine Bunch and Taylor Freeman. We're so thankful to be here, that you guys take the time to recognize these young ladies in our program, and we're just blessed. Thank you.
Coach, also on our program tonight was recognition of the nominee for Miss Basketball Statistic, Miss Crystal Dangerfield this evening. Pretty good for a sophomore, right?
Any board members have any comments?
I was blessed to get to see them play. It's something I've done since I retired from my 40-hour-a-week job some years ago, and it was exciting. They started off with the little butterflies in their tummy, I believe, on the first night or afternoon, morning actually, wasn't it, girls? Maybe that's what it was. It's just too early. But they really played great, and they are, as Coach said, they are a team. They don't care who scores, they want to score, and they don't want you to score. Good job of doing it. So I was blessed to get to see them play.
Well, they certainly have targets on their back with only losing one senior. So I know Ms. Vick and Coach hoping for perfection in a repeat. So congratulations, ladies.
I got a question. Coach Hibden, how long have you been coaching now?
9 Blackman and 16 overall, I believe.
You were at Smyrna Middle before,
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I remember,
visited Dr. Pat Esri yesterday at her home. She was my first boss.
I remember, the great job you did down there. My daughter, she went to Central, and I know every time they played you, and I've watched you through the years, you do a tremendous job, and I want you to know that.
Mr. Duke's here. He is a boy from Lascassas once upon a time too, right, Mr. Duke?
It does, it really makes it sweet to be from Rutherford County and to be a part of this championship and share it with our whole community. It makes it really, really special.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Odom, we got a lot of special guests. Number 8.
We sure do. Our spotlight on education tonight is going to be for the Student Art Showcase, and Ms. Barnes is going to do that for us if you'll work your way up. First, though, I've got lots of principals and art teachers here tonight. If you're sitting and you're either a principal or art teacher, please stand. And if you're a principal and art teacher and you're already standing, which a lot of you are, just hold up your hand if you would, please. Thank you for coming tonight to support the boys and girls.
Thank you, Mr. Odom, board members. This is always a special night for me personally because I love to see the artwork in our facility. It's become a tradition for the past almost 7 years now that we've asked the art teachers from our schools to send a representative piece of artwork from our students to our central office. When I first came here, we had no artwork hanging in the hallways, and now when we do the transition from one year to the next, our walls become very dull and drab until we put up the next round of student art. And it's amazing the people in our central office that make their way around to see the new selections and how proud it makes all of us feel. So we want to thank all of you for sending your artwork to us and participating in this event, and particularly for our students. Congratulations to you for being selected to represent your school here at the central office for this next year. Parents, just so you'll know, next year when we make the changeover, we'll make sure the artwork is returned to your child's teacher so that can come back to you and you can frame it and put it in your own homes and enjoy it forever. So tonight we're going to recognize the students who have artwork represented in this building, and we're going to ask you to come up one at a time, and if you'll line across the front just like our basketball players did, and we'll call your name, and we'll keep you all up here until all the names are called and all of the students come forward. And then we're going to keep you here a little bit longer and take a picture. So our older students, if you'll help me as we line up across the front to put the smaller ones in front of you so we can see everybody. And remember, you're on television, so when you go home tonight or in the next few days, you can watch yourself on Channel 19. So March is National Student Art Month. And again, this is the recognition opportunity for us to spotlight our student artists. From Barfield Elementary School, Jabrian Osborne, grade 5. And we're going to hold our applause, if you don't mind, until we bring all of our students up. From Blackman Elementary, Lyle Cox, grade 4. From Blackman High School, Destiny Helton, grade 12. And from Blackman High School, Erica Adkins, grade 11. You're good, just stay right there. Just start on the end, we're gonna line up beside you. From Blackman Middle School, Cohen Bennett, grade 8. From Browns Chapel Elementary School, Gracie Dangerfield, grade 3. From Buchanan Elementary School, Cameron Henderson, grade 3. Cameron, come on here in the center, okay? From Cedar Grove Elementary School, Mackenzie Crawford, grade 4. From Central Magnet School, we have Ryan Cripps, grade 11, and Katie Goins, grade 8. From Christiana Elementary School, we have Isabel Shoup, grade 2. From Christiana Middle School, we have Molly Cochran, grade 8.
and Tori Laverman, grade 8. From David Urey Elementary, we have Macy Rhodes, grade 4. From Eagleville School, we have Macy Green, grade 12, Brittany Leonard, grade 12, and because they're a K-12 structure, we also have Samra McLaren from 4th grade. From Homer Pittard Campus School, Holly Eakes, grade 4. From John Coleman Elementary School, Shell Wah, grade 2. From Kittrell Elementary School, Kenzie McCoy, kindergarten. There she is, okay. Put yourself right in front, one of you help her and put her right in front of you so we can see her. There you go. From Las Casas Elementary School, Audrey Wallace, grade 5. From Laverne High School, Katrina Daly, grade 12. From Laverne Lake Elementary School, Shania Scales, grade 3. From Laverne Middle School, Shalma Gonzalez, grade 8. From Laverne Primary School, Jasmine Cook, grade 1. From McFadden School, Eli Oliver, grade 5. From Oakland High School, Bailey Scott, grade 12, and Jane Alaba, grade 12. From Oakland Middle School, Natalie Gum, grade 7, and Desiree Thomas, grade 8. From Riverdale High School, Ian Conyer, Ian Conyer, grade 12. Autumn Haggard, grade 11. Jessica Cripps, grade 12. Sarah Bertrana, grade 12. Josh Serrett, grade 12. Jack Singleton, grade 11. Alyssa Black, grade 12. Danielle Schilling, grade 12. Kent Sarisava, grade 12, and Lauren Leak, grade 12. And you know, I noticed a lot of names from Riverdale. They've done a huge display out in front of one of our pods, so when you see that, you'll understand all the pieces that were put together for their particular selection. From Rock Springs Elementary, Piper Lively, grade 1. From Rock Springs Middle, Anna Gafford, grade 8. And Gracie Van Langen, grade 8. From Rockville Elementary, Maddie Wheeler, grade 3. From Rockville Middle, Isaiah Smith, grade 8. All right, this is where I want y'all to start getting creative, okay? And you put shorter ones in front of you and taller ones behind you so we can all fit in this camera shot we're gonna do. From Roy Waldron Elementary, Cheyenne Vanley, grade 2. From Siegel High School, Abby Martin, grade 12. From Siegel Middle, Connor Beckman, grade 7. From Smyrna Elementary, Oyuki Oliveras, grade 4. And from Smyrna Elementary, Camelia Grace Lee, grade 2. From Smyrna High, Noreen Brema, grade 9, and Megan Bloomhofer, grade 9. Also from Smyrna High, Jessica Hall Monteler, grade 11, and Candace Geitz, grade 11. From Smyrna Middle School, Jaylene Aiden, grade 6, and Isabel Holt, grade 8. From Smyrna Primary, Xander Jones, grade 5. Stewart's Creek Elementary, Brandon Sherfield, grade 5, and Lauren Beach, grade 1. From Stewart's Creek High School, Anna Bay, grade 12, and Matt Shields, grade 12. From Stewart's Creek Middle, Courtney Steck, grade 6. From Stewartsboro Elementary, Nikili Opamizi, grade 4, and Bella King, grade 1. There, you know what you're doing, don't you? From Thurman Francis, Gambier Bug, grade 6, and Lydia Parkerson, kindergarten. From Walter Hill, Isabel Paradise, grade 5. From Whitworth Buchanan Middle, Haley Mack, grade 8. And from Wilson Elementary, Bridget Goins, grade 3. Now, I want you all to smile because your parents are back there with cameras and they want to take pictures, and Mr. Evans is going to step up here and take a picture. So stay where you are. And while you're standing there for pictures, I want to thank you. We are thrilled with your artwork. It is just beautiful, and we're so proud to have it displayed up here. So thank you for doing this for us. Mr. Evans says, can we squeeze in just a little bit? So you guys get creative. You do this in school when you line up for school pictures. Tall ones behind, shorter ones to the front. Step out just a little bit. There you go. Squeeze in. Keep going. Keep going. You guys, young ladies, y'all pull up a little bit. Put him behind you. How are we now?
Okay, everybody will look this way. I think we can do this.
All right, very good.
After I take this.
You're supposed to count to 3, right, until you smile. Stay there. Go take it. All right. We are, Mr. Odom, can I go ahead and announce what we're going to do?
Yes, ma'am.
I think the board is going to take a break at this time so all of our parents and students can be dismissed from this room so that you have an opportunity to tour the building. The artwork is spread all over the building in all of the hallways going towards the exits, across the middle. And so hold up, Mr. Odom wants to say something, but I want to make sure you find all the different pieces of artwork as you tour the facility. And Mr. Odom?
I really want to thank you, boys and girls, for sharing your artwork in the central office because they're really plain walls. I join with Ms. Barnes in saying that. As you walk around the building today, look at it because we have it on display on pedestals or hanging on the wall. I want to remind you, this is on television. It's also on YouTube, right, Mr. Evans, at the county site, so you can go and watch this again as many times as you want to. So thank you again for coming tonight. Does any of the board members, anybody want to say anything?
I think they deserve a standing ovation.
They do.
This is something that most people my age wish they could do. You know, you'd like to be able to paint a picture, but most of us never get to this point. We forget about our sports as we get older, but the talent that you have and that's shown on these halls, you'll have that forever. It was really special as I walked through this building to see what a great job you've all done.
Anybody else? Well, if we could, we'll probably take about a 5-minute recess and allow everybody to file out, and any of you want to stay, feel free to.
Thank you all for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
We call this meeting back to order. Before we go into number 9, I believe Mr. Tackett, our athletic director, wants to say a few words.
I was was prepared to make these remarks to this whole audience, but I felt like that the 4 or 5 or 6 minutes that this would have taken might have been impeding upon some of them, so I appreciate the indulgence in that regard. A couple of things. First, I personally want to thank the board, and I think that you need to be acknowledged for supporting our baseline testing program that will actually begin tomorrow. Training starts here for our athletic directors or their designee to go out and begin the training process for that. And I appreciate the fact that you see that as a need. I think we see Rutherford County is going to be a leader in the concussion program in that regard. And that program, as I said, has been approved, and we will begin that training process tomorrow. I want to give special thanks to Brad Rowling from TOA, who is our lead trainer. He's been a huge help. He's going to conduct the training session tomorrow and is going above and beyond to be helpful in this regard. So he is very much part of that. One of the other things we're looking at very strongly is making sure our coaches are aware CPR training to be valuable to them. We have 6 different sessions this summer that they be able to come and update their CPR if they haven't already done that kind of thing. So we're going to make that available to them as well. So trying to be on the forefront of all those things. On April the 5th, TSSAA will be inducting their newest Hall of Fame members. I want to bring that to your attention. That will be at the Embassy Suites here in Murfreesboro. And one of those inductees will be Randy King, longtime basketball coach at Oakland High School. Of course, I have a special affection for Randy and saw the tremendous job that he did, but I think I just wanted to acknowledge that and bring that to attention. I think I will want to attend, and anyone else from the central office staff that might want to acknowledge that. Randy's record, over 23 seasons head coach, he averaged over 23 wins a season, which is tremendous. Had 20 straight years of 20-win seasons. And so he is clearly deserving of this honor, and just want to bring that to the attention of the board, that will be taking place on April the 5th. Also, I want to thank and congratulate Siegel High School for the tremendous job that they did in hosting the district tournament. And since all of our teams on both the girls' side and boys' side swept, they also hosted the region tournament, which they were not really prepared. Well, I shouldn't say they weren't prepared to do. They certainly weren't scheduled to do. But Jason Bridgman, Ricky Parker, and athletic director Greg Wyatt did a tremendous job doing that. There was a great atmosphere, lots of people, a very safe environment. I know I saw several people there, and they should be congratulated for taking that on and doing a tremendous job. And we also need to recognize the Siegel High School boys for the great season that they had. They went undefeated in district season, made it to the state tournament, won the region championship, and the fact that they won all this with the state champion in their own district, own region, tells you just what an accomplishment that was. So we want to congratulate Ben Dotson and all the Siegel basketball team for that accomplishment as well. Also, Alexa Middleton, we acknowledged our Miss Basketball finalist here tonight, Crystal Dangerfield from Blackman. Actually, the winner of the Miss Basketball was Alexa Middleton from Riverdale High School. And
She's coming later.
And she is. She was unable to attend this evening, but she will be on the agenda for the next school board meeting, and so she will be here to accept your congratulations for that tremendous honor as well. And I do hate the one part about not doing this while everybody was here, is I really wanted to acknowledge the great job that Gail Vick and Scott Lawless do at Blackman High School. I've been on this job approximately 5 months, and all these people to the right and in the middle, you quickly recognize who your go-to people are, the ones that you can ask, get open, honest responses from, cooperative nature, and be supportive. And Gail and Scott have been tremendous in that regard. And I just want to acknowledge that publicly. And it certainly reflects upon the successes they have there academically, athletically, that they have great leadership within that school. So I want to make sure that happened. And I also wanted to mention one last thing. Most of you are familiar with the book, All I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. We've used that as a basis for lots of things. Pretty neat book. If you've never seen it or read it, you need to do so. The last Cassis kindergarten teacher that had Chad Hibden was my wife, Linda Tackett. So I wanted to make sure that Chad recognized, and I've made that point several times, point that Chad got his start, and all he ever needed to learn, I'm sure he learned right there in that class. I want to close it out that particular way. So, again, thanks for all that you're doing to support what we're trying to get done, and if I can ever be of service to anybody with anything, please let me know.
Mr. Tackett, I think, did you mention the Blackman boys?
I did not, and I'm glad you mentioned that again. I thought Gail was going to make that in her remarks, but for those that aren't, their Blackman boys basketball team was invited to be in attendance tonight. Of course, they won the state championship as well this past Saturday night, and they were invited to be here. But Coach Wortman indicated that he just couldn't pull all of his people together that quickly, so they will be invited to be at a future board meeting.
All right. Any comments? Appreciate the job you're doing. Number 9, legislative state department updates. Before I turn it over to Mr. Blair and Mr. Holliday for their reports, I'll just make a couple general comments that, as everybody knows, things are pretty fast motion right now. Seems like if you're following it, seems like they're trying to run a lot of it through. Hoping somebody's asleep, I guess. But one thing I found interesting today online with Tennessean, on the school voucher stuff, the PACs. We've basically, noticed that the money's that's being pumped into the voucher program and stuff like that. But there's an article today that the commissioner's former wife, she's with Students First. They poured $97,750 into the back pockets of these people, which is a pretty good chunk of change. And another other group that you see a lot is the Tennessee Federation for Children, $113,000. So basically, if you want to look at it whichever way you want to, a lot of votes are being bought. And I thought that was interesting as far as the total amount. I didn't have any idea what the dollar figure was, but it's online on the Tennessean, so if anybody wants to read it. Also, I had the opportunity to go with Mr. Odom last week. He meets with a group of directors, superintendents from the area, I think on a monthly basis, and listening to a lot of their responses was it's pretty interesting because everybody's in the same situation, and you hear different viewpoints from them, but pretty well the general consensus was that they've experienced the same thing we have. That no legislators are talking to them anymore. So, they just turned their backs and doing their own thing. But, if you want to say, I was glad to hear we weren't the only ones being faced with that. But really, that's the only information I have, going on right now. Mr. Blair, you've got some more.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I used, pardon me, I utilized Mr. Evans' ability to organize and put together some information. So each board member has a list of bills and how they've come out of committee. And if you'll notice, most everything has been rolled to the next week. It seems like everything is going to come to a final head right before session ends. So almost everything will probably be a last minute vote. And Mr. Evans, this is pretty much a living document because everything seems to change daily.
It's outdated the moment that I printed it.
For the television audience, it was outdated the moment that Mr. Evans printed it. So rather than read everything to you, you can see the bill number, either the House bill or the Senate bill. You can see if it's been rolled either forward a week or 2 weeks, you can see it through the history of what has passed to final calendar to be voted on and to be scheduled and then to go to the floor. So, again, I'm not going to read all this if that's okay, Mr. Chairman, but a lot of activity and quite a bit of legislation that is detrimental to the public school system and our students.
Mr. Holder?
Well, before I say anything about Washington, I want to express my appreciation to our chairman as well as our director of schools that since our last board meeting, both of you have penned excellent letters to legislators. Chairman Hodge, your letter to Senator Gresham was much appreciated by me and I think really hit straight to the point. And I think that it's appropriate that we highlight the efforts that we're doing individually as well as a board. And so thank you for that. From Washington, I did have the opportunity to meet with Congressman Blackburn this week and was able to share with her the need for education support at her level. Of course, the House has passed the Elementary and Secondary Education Act and is waiting for action from the Senate. It was interesting also, though, that President Obama, I believe last week, expressed a desire for over $1 billion in his budget to be passed for education, none of which would flow through normal channels without the reauthorization of the ESEA Act. It would all be through these waivers that continue to threaten the normal process of education. In that respect, there's legislation now that seeks to address Common Core as it is related to funding and mandate that Common Core not be used as a stick and carrot for federal funding. And so that is now brought the Common Core debate to Washington, and we'll be able to see people express their thoughts on that, many of whom will not be as informed as those that were at Cedar Grove Elementary this week, where it was really highlighted the value of the Common Core curriculum.
Anybody else got anything?
I had a opportunity a couple of years ago, having tutored for a few years in the city school system, to take advantage of the Common Core first workshop that was done here, put on by city school teachers, and one of the young ladies who was doing it had been a friend of my family's for a long time, and she allowed me to participate as a tutor, which is good because you want to be fairly well-rounded. But what I found about Common Core was more, I might have labeled it common sense, because it does make sense. It's the way many of us learn to deal with reading. If you can't read, what do? You read. When you can't do something, how do you learn to do it? By doing it. That's all you can do. So the math part of it was, it just went back to what I was doing as a tutor. I wasn't following the textbook so much as just taking an issue, a problem, a fraction, a decimal, the concept of what those are and how they impact each other, and just expounding on it a little bit from, hey, you know, of course in math, the common thing to use for fractions and decimals is a pizza. You know, half a pizza, we all know what that is. Well, Mr. Hodge said he liked his cut into 4 pieces because he didn't think he could 8 pieces. But anyway, I just think Common Core, we just need to preach it a little more. The public needs to know what it is, because it's a worthwhile endeavor to move forward. They're not telling you exactly what to teach and how to teach. They're saying by this time in your progression in school, you should be able to do A, B, or C. I think that's what we all believe as far as education goes. So there are all kinds of standards out there, achievement goals, and Common Core just fits right into all of that in my mind. Have I said anything that you might disagree with, Mr. Owen? Because I know you are well versed and I appreciate that. You stay up to date on all that's going on in the school system, and I appreciated the little article written in your support the other day in the local newspaper. Well done, and it just lets everybody know how seriously you take your job and this group of supporters that you have in your administration, how seriously they take their job. So I'm pleased with all that. I think we just need to spend a little more time explaining, not so much preaching, but just not turning our backs and ignoring the fact that people have been misled about Common Core. We need to support it as a group.
Yeah, the Common Core standard should not be a static document. As a standard forever, it's one of those things you look at again, is this working, is it working well, have we left something out, is something at the wrong grade level or something like that? And Tennessee has the ability to do that. Even though we've taken these basically as a starting point, we have the ability as a state to look at that now and move some standards around, add standards, rewrite standards, that sort of thing. You do not have to do that. Originally, when Common Core was being proposed, they said as much as 10 to 15% would be added local. Tennessee chose not to add to it initially, which I think was a wise thing to do. But I know teachers, when you've been dealing with 125, 135 standards in a year in a mathematics class in elementary, to see another set of standards come out that's got 25 to 35 is refreshing. To know that you're not going to be teaching so much memory work and you're just trying to, in the 180 days, and to covering almost a standard a day sometimes, but you've got a chance now to cover standards in depth, spend more days on it, help students learn it. I mean, the political rhetoric and all that's surrounded, or maybe who funded parts of it, or that's one whole issue. But just look at the standard by itself and ask yourself the question, is this what I want my child to know in the 5th grade or the 6th grade? They're online, they're not hidden. And if people will just focus on the standards themselves, they'll come away with a different perspective of it, because it's not a curriculum, it doesn't tell you how to teach it. It's just an expectation. That's what a standard happens to be. And as a fellow back there that was speaking to the governor, Mark Gullion, standing back there, the governor took out his pad and wrote it down. And Mark Gullion said the other day when we were with the governor, he says the way here at City Grove that we look at things, get started and get better. And the governor said, I'm going to steal that. He wrote it down. and basically, I think that's what Common Core is. Get started, let's get better.
Along the way, I think it's also important that we correct things, and Mr. Evans does a great job of alerting us to all of the different news articles. We try to stay up on as many of them as we can, and yet still, in the media, the quote from one of the news articles in the Tennessean. So what is Common Core exactly? It's a set of English, math, science, and social studies standards that every student would need to learn before progressing to the next grade. And yet that's just not what Common Core is, because Common Core is only in language arts and mathematics. And so the misinformation is just a constant effort, and perhaps it is why we need to raise this issue and continue to voice what exactly Common Core is, and reassure our constituents and the public, the parents, that our eyes are fixed on it to make sure that it's for the best for our students.
And I'll say this too, and I shouldn't be talking this much, but I hope behind the cloud of Common Core that some of these other bills that affect you as a board and our constituencies to take control away from local boards of education. There's some things hidden behind this other bills that would do great damage to local control, because I'm very much for, I don't want Washington tell us what to do as a state, and I really don't think Nashville should always tell us what to do as a local board. You're elected by your constituents, you're answerable to your constituents, you have the ear to hear what the people in this area are doing. So I hope in the focus on Common Core that these other bills tonight that you brought before us again, I hope we don't also lose a focus on how important they are also.
Anybody else? one other thing I failed to mention, is last week at Teacher of the Year reception, Senator Catherine and Senator Tracy both attended, and we did appreciate them coming up. I meant to mention that earlier, and it just slipped my mind, but, you know, and I told them I appreciated it when they were at the meeting or at the reception. We appreciated them coming and everything, so. You want Mr. Sandvig to do the state?
Well, if you'd like for me to read this, we discussed it the other
Okay.
night, but some people may be on TV that may not have heard it. I'll read it, and if you want to, it'll be fine. And this is another update that we have. It's the state 401k update. It's for information only. All certified and classified employees will be eligible to join the state's 401k plan, even those employees who are not in one of the new TCRS defined contribution retirement plans. Also, there is no 2% limit on employee contributions, as had been mentioned in another TCRS meeting. The 2% is just the default auto-enrollment amount for anyone in the hybrid retirement plan. Mr. Sandvig got these clarifications from Ms. Casey Lance, the director of the state's defined contribution plans. Staff will be looking into ways to modify our current 403B plan with VALIC so that our employees who sign up for the state's 401k plan will not be able to contribute to our VALIC 403B plan. All of our employees will be able to contribute to our newly approved 457B plan.
I know we went over, Mr. Sandvig went over that all this the other night. Does anybody have any further questions on it or comments? All right. Number 10, Mr. Odom.
That was the TSBA Scope Conference, and Mr. Blair gave us some update on that the other night. I may have a different audience tonight if you want to say anything about that.
Well, I was hoping that we would be able to pass out certificates, but I suspect that with the full parking lot with all the parents that were here, it may have scared our students off. But just real quickly, would like to remind the board that the SCOPE program was on Monday the 10th, and it was held at MTSU. And it's two components. The first component is breaking into 16 groups. I believe we had a little over 300 students from across the state, 10 from Rutherford County. And in that process, in the first component, these students would act as a school board, along with the director of schools and a chairman and stakeholders. Mr. Odom, and you may have found this a challenge to defend as the director of schools, the recommendation that the director of schools made for our mock school board was to modify the high school class schedule to begin at 10 a.m. and adjourn at 5 p.m. So again, you may have found that a little bit challenging yourself. I will have to admit the young lady that acted as our director of schools presented herself very, very well, and although it did fail when it came down to a vote, she did.
There's some research that supports that.
She worked hard. The other part of the program is a debate. Each group selects a student to represent that group. There were 4 different debate statements, and 2 pro and 2 con on each statement. If I could read those real quick, Mr. Chairman. The debate statements were: school systems shall operate on a year-round schedule. All students shall be required to take PE every year. Schools shall discipline students for off-campus cyberbullying. And schools shall allow teachers to use social media to communicate with students. So very lively debate on both sides, and just the students did so very well. In my group, I did not have any Rutherford County students, but they all seemed to have enjoyed themselves, and this was the first time that Rutherford County students had participated, to my knowledge, at least in the number of years that I've been involved. If I might, Mr. Chairman, we have certificates for those 10 students that did participate. May I read their names real quick? And I think, Ms. Michaels, you'll get the certificates to them. Autumn Butterworth, Dustin Diaz, Abby Gass, Andrew Heim, Nate Hogan, Connor Hurley, Harrison Pauley, and Michael Zeitz, maybe, Zeitz, I apologize for that. So we'll get those to them, and I'm hopeful that we will eventually get some feedback and that they enjoyed themselves as much as I did and have in the past, and still hopeful that there is not a YouTube me playing the role of the angry grandfather. So I'm still hopeful for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Number 11, Mr. O.
Number 11 is local textbook adoption committees. For qualifications and parameters for appointments to local textbook adoption committees, TCA 496-2207C 1 through 4 and D 1 through 2, E and F. All members appointed on each committee has completed a record of names and qualification form. The form remains in the office of the local director of schools for the 6 years of adoption. It is documentation that the board approved the textbook selecting committee and that all are qualified to serve. Recommend approval for the board to approve the record of names and qualification of members of local textbook selecting committees K5, 6-8, and 9-12. I do have the names if you'd like me to, if you'd like to read it.
That's the ones we went over the other night.
It is the same names you had the other evening.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I wouldn't think so again.
Everybody good with that?
Mr. Holliday did an excellent job of enunciating.
All right, you heard Mr. Odom's recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Blair and a second by Mr. Eakes. Any further discussion on this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 12.
Number 12 is special courses request. The instruction department is requesting permission to make an application to offer credit for special courses under the following guidelines. And this is Rules and Regulations 0520-1-3-.05-2A. Local school systems may offer special courses not listed in 520-1-3.06 on an experimental basis. The Commissioner of Education must approve each course in advance each year. After 3 years, the course may become permanent part of the local school program upon approval by the State Board of Education. After 3 years, the special course request must be resubmitted if the teacher listed on the application changes. And interesting, we found out today the state's changed that rule. That's since Tuesday. If the teachers change now, you do not have to resubmit and go through the whole 3 years. So they have expedited that a little. In the initial first year, we have Shakespeare, which is a Central Magnet course, the Writing Lab, a first-year request from Central Magnet, Theatrical Literature Appreciation, a first-year request from Smyrna High, Tennessee History, a first-year request from Stewart's Creek High, and American Sign Language 2, which is a first-year request from Riverdale High. The renewal, which would be your second year, is ACT Prep, second-year request, Stewart's Creek High, Honors Mythology, second-year request, Blackman High, Introduction to GIS System, third-year request from Central Magnet, Foundations of Leadership, third-year request, Smyrna High, AVID, second-year request, Smyrna High, and they are working up the program for you for the AVID program. We did talk with Mr. Powell today. And Honors Organic Chemistry, second-year request, Central Magnet, American Sign Language, second-year request, Riverdale High, Positive Psychology, second-year request, Central Magnet, Native American History, second-year request, Oakland High, Musical Theater, second-year request, Smyrna High, Film as Literature, second-year request, Riverdale High, Survey of Popular American Culture, third-year request, Laverne, Strength and Conditioning 1, second-year Stewart's Creek, Strength and Conditioning 2, second-year Stewart's Creek, and Strength and Conditioning 3, second-year Stewart's Creek High. And the CTE course, Career and Technical Education Special Courses, is Entrepreneurship Foundations at Stewart's Creek High, and CTE renewal courses are the MIT, which is the Mechatronics Industrial Technician, and then that's year 2 at Siegel High, and Project Lead the Way Biometric Innovations at Central Magnet, and Project Lead the Way Medical Interventions at Central Magnet School. Recommend approval, motion to approve Rutherford County making application for new special courses to be offered in the named schools in 2014-15 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Young and a second by Mr. Holliday. Any further discussion on this? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. 13, general discussion.
Mr. Odom, with the ACT, it was given on the 18th, I believe.
18th, Tuesday, was it?
How did, overall, system-wide, how did that go?
We, the high schools had a principal today, a meeting, and we were there at Holloway, they met today, and I asked several of them, how'd it go? Fine. I mean, of course, this is not new to them, they've done it in the past, but typically if something doesn't go well, I do hear about it, and I had not heard anything, so that's why I started asking. So they were very pleased with it. I know Gail Vick was telling me, said, you know, how many of you, as their students were coming out of the test, how many of you made $16,000 today? And I looked at her kind of funny, and she's saying, if you can get a high enough ACT, if you can get that score, it'll be worth $16,000 more in scholarship monies for you, you know, and that sort of thing. So they do little things to try to motivate them and all to get higher ACT scores, but it went well.
Good. Tennessee's one of the few states that require all juniors to take the ACT.
I think it's only 9, did I hear, or something like that?
Yeah, there's only 9 states. Also, I talked to several coaches lately, they said they had the highest attendance rate that they've had in a long time.
That's great.
The participation rate is very high.
Well, that's good news.
What else?
It's the season for drama productions, and I had the pleasure of going to Roy Waldron Elementary's production of Beauty and the Beast, and they did an excellent job. I'm looking forward this weekend to Stewart's Creek. They have a rather unique production that they're putting forward, and I know that all the board members have received an invitation, but in collaboration for The Sound of Music, that has acting roles at all different ages. They reached out to their friends at Stewart's Creek Middle and Stewart's Creek Elementary and have cast a group of students that are across grade levels, across age levels, and I'm looking forward to the production to see how they did that. I think the collaboration between schools is excellent, and I think that it gives us a look at a collaboration that we should take advantage of. I was talking with the folks at Roy Waldron Elementary about how they incorporated an atmosphere of excitement around the school about this production into the classroom, whether it was counting teacups or it was learning about, you know, different animals in science class or however it was. The fine arts really give us an opportunity to inspire students that may not necessarily get excited about the curriculum and the coursework to engage. And at the same time, it's another area where Stewart's Creek is showing us you can get involved in an activity like this and find friends that are outside of your class, the way we see in ROTC, career and technical education, the band and athletics, and that retains students and allows them to get to graduation. So I think it's an outstanding effort, and as we continue to move forward, I hope that maybe there's an opportunity for some coordinated effort, even from the central office level, for these fine arts investments that we're making.
You mentioned the other 2 students from Roy Waldron the other night, too.
Well, actually 3 students, and I'll go ahead and mention them. The student that was playing Belle, and let's see if I can get the cast here. Oh, they don't have them out. I will come back to you. But there are 3 students. Roy Waldron took their drama troupe down to Atlanta for a drama workshop, and 3 students were selected and have the opportunity to go to New York and be on Broadway in a production of Madagascar. And so 3 Laverne students are trying to raise some money to make their first appearance on Broadway because of the good work of our dedicated teachers, not dedicated to drama. They have to teach a whole class, but then in addition to that, pull off a drama production that was just outstanding.
Anybody else? Mr. Eaps?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, we have the Channel 19. If we have the capability of capturing something like that on film, or it's not called film anymore, is it? But anyway, why couldn't we utilize that resource to, remember they used to play some basketball games back. I do believe some football games in particular were played back on 19.
James
So-
Evans can tell you about that because we've been meeting with him about some of their plans. He wants to, it's kind of been ongoing.
Mr. Tack and I have actually met with the deputy mayor and the head of Channel 19, Mr. Harris and Brian, I can't think of Brian's last name right now, Robertson, thank you, about that very thing, about having different schools programming on Channel 19. We're working towards some partnerships there. It sounds great, but it's a little bit bigger than you might imagine because of the quality standards they have to have and the frequency and all those sorts of things. But Blackman High School and Blackman High School and Stewart's Creek High School are both working on a sample today because they have broadcasting programs in their schools, and they're going to try a couple of different things and submit those to see if they will work. But we're doing it. We just don't want to bite off more than we can chew, so to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. You got anything, Mr. Young?
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Odom's done for us on this common core. We just need to keep getting that word out there because there is so many misconceptions about that. People I talk to, it's just, it'll blow your mind how far off base they are on the common core. So we just need to keep getting that word out there.
I've just got a couple of things here. We got the budget meeting Monday night, just to remind everybody on that. First go around, I guess, Mr. Sam Bigg will bring us everything we need Monday, correct? Yes, sir. I believe that's at 5:30. Then I'll just mention tonight at Laverne High School, I believe Mr. Holliday and Mr. Blair, I believe we're planning on going. They've got a dual enrollment college course meeting, informational meeting tonight at 7. So I think all the board members got notice on that. And main thing, anybody in the general public, if they forgot it or don't know about it, it's at 7 o'clock, correct?
That's right.
In the auditorium. So it's a great program they got going down there, and they're doing a wonderful job with it. So, anybody else?
The state's rolling out dual credit courses too. It's going to be offered at the state level, statewide, some in ag and some of the others. I've seen the list, but I probably need to bring it to you as information sometime. So the state's picked up on it statewide to try to make some offerings.
Anything else? Nothing else? Well, let me just say one to our SRO back there. We appreciate the job he did tonight. Had a big crowd, and I think he ushered them on out, or kept law and order, I guess. So we appreciate that. If there's nothing else, we're adjourned.